Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to Into the Darkness, my segment on the channel that is dedicated to all things horror. And right now, I'm joined by two very amazing guests. My good friend, Mr. DJ Anubis of the Metal Tavern Radio. And of course, our good friend who loves horror, Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Hello, hello.
Hello. And tonight, we normally do like a full franchise discussion on a number of movies in a particular franchise. But tonight, I chose to do something different and, give her a bit of a break from talking and watching like 5-6 films in a row. So tonight, we are doing just two particular movies and we are talking about the Sinister films. That's right. So Sinister is a 2012 supernatural horror film directed by Scott Derrickson, who co-wrote with C. Robert Cargill. It stars Ethan Hawke as a struggling true crime writer whose discovery of a snuff film depicting gruesome murders and strange supernatural elements in his new home puts his family in danger. Also stars Juliet Rylance, Fred Thompson, James Ranson, Claire Foley, and Michael Hall de Adi. I can't even pronounce that surname. Michael Hall de Adadero, and featured in supporting roles. So, a lot to take in there. So first things first, we'll ask the question we always ask. DJ Anubis, can you remember your first time seeing Sinister?
Yeah, well, I didn't see him in the theaters. I either came on streaming or we rented it, I can't remember, but Neko and I watched it, and I remember really liking it. I thought it was really good, great concept. And this is one of the few Blumhouse horrors that I can get into, both of them. So, this is one of their rare moments that they actually strike gold. But also, when we talk about, our main character, villain is Mr. Boogie, he reminded me a lot of an artist called Take. He's, been in the black metal genre forever. And actually, I put a picture in your thing down there. So it reminds me of him, the way they look almost.
Yeah.
So her and I were watching this. I'm saying, it looks like Take so much. But it was a really good film when we watched it. Probably would have been 2013, because I think this one came out in 2012. So it would have been a year after that we saw it. But yeah, pleasantly surprised. Really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Tony of the Dead.
I probably saw it right when it came out, not in the theater, but when it first was available to rent. I think we still rented back then, or I saw it. Let's put it that way. But I definitely saw it when it first came out because I was interested in it, and I remember really liking it too. But I forgot about a lot of it. So watching this movies for today, I rewatched the first one, obviously, and then the second one, it was the first time I ever watched it. Ooh, excuse me. So yeah, it was different. It was interesting. I think this is why I'm like, why does everybody say Blumhouse sucks? They put out some good stuff, and then nowadays it's hit or miss. But back then it was Blumhouse, cool.
Yeah, you see, for me, Blumhouse, the early stuff, I've always said this, when Blumhouse, before it became a major Hollywood powerhouse studio, when it was more like an independent studio, it put out some really interesting, smart, creative horror films. And I think, this for me came in probably the golden era of Blumhouse, I guess, where Blumhouse, for me, were putting out some really interesting, integral, modern day horror films that really captivate you, really spooked you, really scared you, or just made you feel uncomfortable. Now, the Hollywood, their horror films, they're just trying to make they're trying to make a horror film, out of anything, and they're just throwing it at the wall to see if it sticks, like Night Swim. and imaginary. But this for me was one of their last best ideas for original horrors. And I actually did see this in theaters in that because Blumhouse by that point had been putting out, you know, decent horror films one after the other for a while. And I remember seeing this in the theaters, and I remember it vividly. The scene which, you know, where they're cutting the grass, the lawnmower scene, the garden when he's cutting the lawn, not thinking anything was, and when you just see the body on the floor, I was like, I jumped. I generally was disturbed by it and felt uncomfortable for it because it's just the idea of it alone is quite creepy.
Yeah.
But that was my first time seeing this, and this film cost a budget of 3 million and it made 87.7 million. So that's not bad for the budget it had.
No.
And this is one of the rare films, like I noticed when I rewatched it, that twice it got me with jump scares. Twice.
Yeah. Same here. But I even jumped at the end credits, like right at the end where you just see like, and then next thing you see Bagul just go like that to the camera.
Yeah.
And like,
I was expecting it that time. The other time I didn't. I went like this. I was gonna punch him.
I sat there, I was watching it happen. I was like, "Oh, you motherfucker!"
Damn it.
Well, actually, it was in the second film too, because like you're thinking it's gonna come from one point of view, and then all of a sudden it happens from a different. I'm like, "Oh, you asshole! Fuck you!"
Yeah. Yep.
yes, but so this starts off with true crime writer Ellison Oswald. You know, he's had success as a, you know, true crime novelist, but he's not well liked by the local, you know, police and authorities because he goes quite deep. And, you know, he's given like the police officers quite a, you know, bad reputation, not being able to solve brutal crimes. So he moves him and his family. So there's him, there's his wife Tracy, his 12-year-old son Trevor, his 7-year-old daughter Ashley, and he moves them from their old town which into this, you know, new home which was once owned by the Stevenson family. And you don't think anything's peculiar about the house. It's very straightforward. They're moving to the new neighborhood. The local town sheriff is there to greet them, but he doesn't really give them a warm welcome, and he basically warns them, you know, this town doesn't need you here with your reputation of writing these crew, you know, crime novels, and you know the kind of how the backlash that you give the police department and the police force in like the local areas where you've written these books. And one of his books was a huge success, which is why he has this reputation. But his follow-up novels haven't seen the same success, and his wife Tracy's kind of getting sick of the backlash of the negativity around her and the family, and having to upload the kids and the family and move them from town to town every time it happens. But Ethan Hawke's character, like I say, who you know, who's like the family man, he's like running the family. He cannot let go of this dream of having another New York Times bestseller novel. You know, he wants to basically recapture the glory of having a successful book. And then he's kind of got like, you know, he's kind of selfish in a way because he's putting his career and his own career ambition before the welfare of his family.
Yep.
And then the fun begins, because as he's investigating around the house, he comes across in the attic a box that's full of these old Super 8 type film reels. And as you can see, each one is labeled with different titles from different years with different scenarios. So you've got lawn work. You know, there's different ones. You've got the one at the pool. And as you just think they're just family videos, but as he plays one of the videos while he's sitting down investigating, like the crime, you know, his crime scene, which is a murder in the property that he's at, which you do see at the beginning of the film, was a gruesome hanging. So you have this gruesome hanging at the beginning of the movie, which is quite, uncomfortable.
That's why I give credit to both movies, is that all the kills are very creative, like something you don't really see that often. Nope. And the way that they get like the bodies to twitch, the director did an amazing job with that. Like that's some crazy, because it's so real. It's like really crazy real.
Yeah, it definitely is. I should know. But for me, it's a brilliant opening. So then he gets all these. He starts playing one of the tapes, and I think the first one you saw, I think it was where they were at some riverside, and they're in the car. He sees the family in the car, and then the next thing you know, you see the mother and the father in the back of this car, and it suddenly explodes in flame. And the next thing you just see these people who are tied up in the front and the back of this car just combusting in flame because of somebody's obviously kidnapped them. What you assume is a kidnapping, place them in the back in front of this car and set it alight while they're still alive. And he now witnesses this horrendous situation, so he's now getting deeper and deeper into the events that are transpiring around him. So how do you feel, Anubis, about like the build up and the slow burn of this film from start to where we're at?
Well, I like it because you touched on a lot of the things that makes it an interesting plot, because like you said, Ellison Oswald, he is very selfish in this respect. He bought the house, didn't tell the wife or the kids that it was a place where a family was murdered. He's keeping that secret. Then he finds these rolls of film, and he starts watching them. And technically, that would be like evidence for the police. He doesn't take it to him. He wants it for himself because he wants all the inside scoop for his book. So, he's doing things that are already working against his family. Like he's hiding things for self appreciation or whatever. But also the films themselves, like you said, like they start out by showing you these families having fun. They're at vacations. They're doing random things. And so in some ways, before we even get to who Mr. Boogie is, like we know that our killer is kind of like teasing you with the idea, oh, look at the cute family, look what I'm gonna get ready to do to them, and then they switch over to the violence that happens to them, and it's like traumatic, like it's like very hard to watch. And so he starts to learn as he watches it just how hard it is to stomach it. Like it's just really, really bad. It's like snuff films, basically.
Yeah. The great thing I like about this is, like you see, there's this kind of these old-fashioned video like film reels of these families having fun, enjoying themselves, and then it switches to the murders of each family member, but you're seeing them being murdered, or you're seeing the events that transpires that leads them up to being murdered, but like you say, you don't actually see who's committing the murders. You just know somebody's like pulling the trigger, or they've got the camera, like especially the lawnmower scene at the front of the camera, and you see but you don't actually see who's behind the camera, who's showcasing who's doing these crimes. So he's getting more and more invested into it. And Tony, how's your feelings, like the slow burn and the like the mystery behind everything that's going on?
I think the movie flows perfectly well. Like I didn't really check the time, and then I looked and it's like 40 minutes. I was like, oh my God, really? Like I was into the movie, so it keeps your attention, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. But there's something so eerie about a Super 8 home video, and you hear the clicking, and like it cuts the scenes. And the way he reacted to these movies these movie found footage is kind of like how Nicolas Cage was in 8
8
millimeter.
millimeter. Yeah.
Like he had to watch the snuff film, and he's like, "Oh my god," which shows their humanity. Because like if he was just sitting there and he just like was watching, then it's like, man, this guy is like you know how you are. You're like so used to what you do at your job. It doesn't like affect you like some people.
Yeah.
That's how, but it affected him. So it was like, and it got worse and worse. It just, well, here's a drink here, and oh my god, then he went right to the bottle. Then he's smoking. It's like, man, it's definitely it definitely keeps your attention for sure. So
yeah. So as you mentioned, Anubis, we are slowly introduced to the character who is known as Mr. Bogey. You know, the family who's in this house, he starts arguing with his wife because the son's getting into bother at school because the son finds out the house that they're living in and the hangings, and then the daughter's now who's like into art, you know, they allowed her and give her permission to draw on our walls, paint on our walls in our bedroom. But now she's starting to act out a character, and she's now painting in the living room or on the, the hallway walls leading towards the bedrooms and things. And one day he's sitting and he's busy watching another one of these video tapes, which is called Pool Party. And you see a group of, I guess, like college-age kids or teenagers who are basically, they're having fun at a pool party. You see them all, with the cans of beer and in the bathing suits jumping around in the water. Then all of a sudden, bang, it switches and you see all the girls tied to the sun loungers. And they've all got like a long rope attached to the back of them. And suddenly, one by one, each of them gets pulled drastically into the water. But then something catches his eye, and it is Mr. Boogie. So Mr. Boogie just happens to be underwater, and he turns and he stares and looks at the camera. And that's when Ellison, who's the character that Ethan Hawke plays, suddenly gets freaked out and realizes maybe there's something a lot more, darker going on. At the same time that's happening, you're then introduced to, James Ranson, who is the deputy, who basically, James Ranson, may him rest in peace, he's no longer with us.
He's not?
He sadly passed away recently.
Oh, I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yeah. So, he was in It, Chapter 2. He was in The Black Phone. He played the brother of Ethan Hawke's character in that film as well.
Right.
So he's well diverse within the world of horror and other properties, but he sadly passed away this year. May he rest in peace. So he's no longer with us, bless him, but he does an incredible performance, I believe, in this one and in the second one. But I really think he stood out in It Chapter 2, and I thought he was brilliant in the Black Phone films.
Is he the older version of the younger kid in the second?
Yes.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Like the kid he's playing. Okay. I saw him somewhere. I didn't check IMDb. I just thought I really liked him in the second one especially. But like when they brought him back in the second one, spoiler alert, I was like, oh, good, we have this guy. Because I was thinking, why did they just like let him go? Like he has all this information. What the hell? It sucks. No, I didn't know he died.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he did commit suicide.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Suicide, and he obviously just shows sometimes the pressures of fame isn't for everybody, and you don't know what anyone's going through behind behind the scenes. So one thing I will say, anyone who watches is, if you're ever feeling down, or there's always numbers you can ring. There's always a place to go to have someone to talk to. You're never alone. So I just wanted to put that out there. You're never alone. Never forget that. But yes, he does an amazing performance in this, and he plays the deputy. And he during this, he's read his book and he's actually a genuine fan of his work. So he kind of becomes, he's like the inside man within the sheriff's department to like find more information. And the more he deep dives into it, the more he then sees and realizes that all these murders are connected to different towns, and they've all got like a connection to like this ritual symbols on the wall and things like that nature. And we do get a really good performance and cameo by the great trying to see his name, he plays Kingpin, Vincent D.
D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah.
Vincent, legendary actor, plays the Kingpin in Daredevil. He plays like this. He plays like a guy who knows about history and myths and urban legends. He gets, in contact with Ethan Hawke's character Ellison because the deputy communicated with him and said, I've got these, and he's really interested in helping them undercover things, and he's asking him what book he's writing, and he wants to help him with the crime and stuff like this. And this is where he finds more the history of the character, which is Mr. Boogie, who he then discovers is an ancient spirit called Bagul. And Bagul, here we go. Bagul is like an ancient spirit that basically feeds on the spirit of children. And at one point, they believed he used to eat the children. And so you discover this out, and then this is where things begin to happen throughout the course of the movie, where the more Ethan Hawke's character, Ellison's getting more involved, the more creepy things are happening. He tries to get away from it all, but then he realizes now, because he's played basically the first Super 8, his family's now connected to the spirit of Bagul. And no matter what he's going to do, he's probably going to come after them. And you see him frantically trying to solve this problem. And then he goes back to like his home. And this is where the huge reveal is kind of revealed. And the reveal is that basically he gets drugged by somebody and he collapses on the floor. And when he looks up, the person who was drugged him is his own daughter. And it's revealed that the kids, the person behind the camera committing these murders is the kids of the adults. And once they've killed the parents, their souls and body are then taken away by the spirit of Bagul, which I thought was a twist in this, which was fantastic. I never seen it coming, I'll be truly honest, when I first seen this film. But as you can see by the end of the first film, that's after the daughter who was subdued her dad ends up cutting his head off. And splatters the wall in his blood. And after that's happened, Bagul picks her up and carries her away. And then the next scene, and it's the last scene of the movie, is you see a new reel added to the box of Super 8 that says wall painting, which I thought was brilliant. So in all, what's your take on the first movie, DJ Anubis?
Excellent film. Like I said, great plot, great acting. I like the twist at the end. Like, I did not expect that at all, because that's something most horror tries to shy away from, especially stuff from Blumhouse. They usually don't do this nowadays, where they kind of like give you endings that are very bleak. And spoilers, of course, so people, you should know by now. This is an old film, but yeah, like, Tony and I talk about this a lot when we do our own reviews on ghouls, that sometimes you want better endings on stuff. So like when we did our review for The Home, we wanted the ending we got. We didn't want the dark side of that. This, though, it works perfectly having this sort of bleak ending because it's setting itself up for something beyond that. So they were already thinking of a sequel or something beyond it. So I do like the ending of this, as bleak as it is, because it just, you didn't really expect it, especially when you said that you find out that the kid is the one that's doing the recording. And then, of course, the second film we're going to get into will kind of elaborate on how it works and why it works the way it does. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this film.
Yeah. Tony.
Yeah, I like it. I like the movie. I don't know if it was better watching it this time or the first time, but considering I didn't remember most of it, it's like I watched it for the first time again. But yeah, I liked it. I wasn't sure at first if I really liked the supernatural aspect of it, but I think it works. Part of me wishes it was like a real serial killer. Like the way the police were, I thought maybe they'd be in on it, but keep it quiet.
Like the sheriff, yeah. Obviously, when I first seen this film, you always think that there's like a corrupt cop or something in there.
Yeah.
In it.
Well, I was going to say that, it was mainly for the second film because it, like we said, we're going to dive more into the mythology of it all, but. I'm kind of with Tony. I'm really was hoping that this was more of just like a cult that was doing all this stuff, because as cool as Mr. Boogie is, when you get into the second film, it sort of takes away from the stuff that you really want out of it, but we'll dive more into that. But yeah, I agree with Tony on that. It works, but yet you kind of wish it didn't have that supernatural element because it just makes it too easy.
Yeah,
I guess.
Like it's a little like when he picks her up, like where do they go?
Right.
Where's her body?
Supposedly it goes into the dark realm or wherever he's from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do like the movie. I don't think he's scary at all.
I don't think
looks like he should be in Slipknot. But
yes, he looks like a guitarist. Yes.
Yeah. But either way, it's creepy as hell, especially kids killing. Like
that's terrifying. That's more terrifying than adults.
I was
have
gonna
kids.
Yeah. I was gonna say what would have made this really scary is, I always remember, if you think of the impact of the very first Halloween when you're seeing the eyes through the mask and then it's revealed that it's a young kid who's killed his sister, Michael Myers. Imagine if the reveal is not even a cult. It's just kids going around killing the parents because there's something twisted in the town that turns the kids psychopathic. And the kids are just doing it for the fun of doing it. That would have been creepy as hell, and it would have been like really dark. But I don't know if they would want to go that dark. That's the thing. But back then, when this was made in 2025, it's a possible. Sorry, 2012, I
think. Just 2012.
I could imagine that they could have probably still have gone that dark with this particular film.
You want to feel old? The little girl now is 26 years old, and the brother's probably 30.
Yeah.
And that I feel like this was made not that long ago.
I know. That's actually good though, because that tells you another 10 or 20 years from now, this movie will probably stand the test of time because it's still very relevant in terms of how it's made and how it affects you. Because like I said, I'm with Tony. I hadn't seen this since it came out. And I still got scared when it jumped out at me. So I'm like, fuck you, assholes. That's how come I knew I liked it back then, because I knew it had that effect on me. And so when you can find a film that still gives you jump scares, that's good. Yeah.
And they all turn around in the attic and they go, shh, you fucker. That was the other jump.
Yeah.
Well, the girl turns up. Yeah, I jumped at that. I jumped at that. I jumped at the lawnmower scene, and I jumped at the end when he just suddenly turned to the camera. So I'm a pussy. What can I tell you? I jumped at this movie, but I'll tell you what, I didn't jump as much as, let's say, the Insidious films. And there's 6 of them.
Hell, man, I don't think I jumped that much in Insidious, except for the one face behind the guy. That was the only one I remembered.
That's terrifying.
This film for me is more impactful because it's more disturbing, it's more creepy, it makes you feel more uncomfortable than I would say the first couple of Insidious films for me were like genuine frightening films, and I think once they knew they could franchise it off, it kind of lost its appeal to me. Where I like the fact that the Sinister films have only done 2 films and they've kind of stopped. I don't think the second film did as well as the first one, but I'm glad that they didn't try to overstay its welcome. And I look at the first movie and the second movie is one long film.
Yeah. It worked as like an entire film. Yeah.
And another thing,
the other thing is too, Insidious, because it to me a lot of times Insidious is like a sort of attached to The Conjuring, even though they're not part of the same world, but it just reminds me of that world. Whereas this one, it has supernatural elements, but it remains mainly in the real world. It doesn't touch too much on the supernatural until he starts unraveling stuff. Whereas Insidious, it kind of just dives right into the supernatural like the entire time you're there. This one, it just kind of remains mainly in the real world with how your main character, like in the second film, you got the former cop who's our main guy. And so in this one, it's Ellie Ellison. And so it's like, it remains pretty steadfast in the real world and how he's dealing with what he's seeing and unraveling. Whereas Insidious is kind of jumping from the paranormal back to the real world and so on. So I kind of like this one way better, how it's structured in terms of a horror film.
Yeah, the thing I see parts of Conjuring in this, because as you know, the Conjuring set like in different centuries and different time periods, and this has that vibe where you see the Super 8 and that they kind of take you like to another century and all that stuff. I do see that in this, and I also see elements of the Ring in this, if that makes sense, because like the Ring, they play a videotape, and then the spirit Samaya.
I think I read that the director was influenced by The Ring to write the story for this. So
yeah,
Cargill's the one that said he watched The Ring, and this is how he came up with the concept of this.
Yeah,
the director, like he did a lot of great movies though, like even like Doctor Strange and that, like he produced it. So but
yeah,
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I kind of see you, like you guys say, like you see in Conjuring that. I'm more along the lines of like Long Legs. Like,
yes,
like this reminds me of like Long Legs, like that eerie kind of like it just don't feel clean.
Yes,
kind of feel,
Yeah, I see the likes of Long Legs, Black Phone, Ring, Conjuring. I even see, because of the element that's revealed, that the kids are the killers, part of Children from the Corn in this.
Malachi.
Yeah.
That's
I see. You could, in a sense, I would go more towards what Tony said with like 88. Like that certainly has a more feel like the Nicolas Cage film to this.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
8 millimeter, excuse me, not 88, but 8 millimeter. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely has like that old school, dirty kind of feel.
Yeah. It's like an uneasy feeling while you watch the same thing with that, like you're watching that Super 8, and even though they're having a party and you know something bad's going to happen, but even if it's a good, like it's a fun party, it's still really weird, like awkward. I don't know. Yeah. It's like, why would you? I guess I don't know. I get why they're. I was gonna say, why would you have a Super 8? But it was like, that's the thing of the movie. But it's just eerie, which is good. I like feeling something when besides myself when I'm watching a movie.
Yes, definitely.
Feelings.
If I don't watch a horror film for jump scares. I think it's pointless. I like a horror film that's got a good story, like classic films like Freddy and the Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser still appeal to me. Where now it's not about telling, like even the Freddy films, the first Nightmare, I love the story of it, and then but then it's also disturbing and frightening, especially the opening scene where you see her getting stuck to the ceiling and blood splattering and stuff of that nature. Where now it's all about how many times they can make you jump in the theater, and it's all CGI crap that just doesn't grab us. Where even this film, doesn't probably use a lot of CGI, if any. It's all practical and it's all camera angles. And
Yeah, because some of
the-
them rely way too much on jump scares. Like they'll just keep trying to throw them out. It's like, dude, we get it.
Yeah.
We get it. This one, was good enough to where it just kind of places them nicely. It doesn't overdo it and just leaves it as it is. So,
Agreed.
So that brings us to Sinister 2. So Sinister 2 it came out in 2015. It's another supernatural horror film. This time it was directed by Caesarion Foy and written by Scott Derrickson. So even though he's not directing, he wrote this one with, of course, C. Robert Cargill. It's a sequel to the original Sinister 2012. It stars James Ranson reprising his role from the original film, and Cheyenne Sossamon. I cannot even see her name. The film follows a former deputy as he attempts to put an end to a malevolent dignity. I can't even speak. Maleficent deity curse after an encounter with a family that fell victim to it, while a boy is tormented by the victims who lived in the house where he, his twin brother, and mother now reside. Unlike the first film, which utilized 8mm film, in this story they use horror movies and snuff films. Sinister 2 utilize 16mm film, vinyl records, and ham radio broadcasts in the film's storyline. So this one cost 10 million and it made 54.1 million.
still made money.
Yeah.
Still made money, yes. So obviously this film opens up very much like the first one, where you've got this mother and her two boys. Basically, they're living in this farmhouse that's just renting off somebody. You've got you see this opening sequence with a scarecrow, and you basically see like somebody dressed in the scarecrow, and they basically set a light, and it's like creepy as hell. Straight away, off with a bang. They set up the tone of the movie, and once again it has kind of the same feels and the vibe of the first film. And like I say, I generally feel like if they ever did, I could easily see them combine the two films into one like big 4-hour movie, because it feels like they're both one film that's been cut in half to make two films, because of the story, and the story ebbs and flows really well. So the first film, you find out with the crime writer, he starts investigating these crimes, and it feels very much like just a crime caper, but with the supernatural element hide in. I very much felt the same way I felt about the Black Phone films with these two films. Two different films.
I never saw the second one, so don't spoil it.
Yeah, I haven't seen a second Black Phone either.
Well, I'll not spoil it, but the first film, like you say, Tony, before, felt more like Long Legs with the creepiness and the vibe of it.
Yeah.
But even though it was meant to be a supernatural film with the introduction of Mr. Boogie, and obviously who gets revealed as Bagul, it felt more like a crime caper trying to uncover who was behind the camera doing these crimes. And then the second film basically goes more into the supernatural and the lore of who Mr. Boogie is, and you reveal of like who Bagul is. He's like this ancient deity who, he feeds off the deaths, and he takes the souls of the children. But then the children after the dead, as you know, in the first film, you're seeing the spirits like hovering around, like the girl in the house. Now you get to see more. It's like once he takes them and he takes their spirit, they then become like trapped, or they end up assisting him in, taking more souls and more bodies to his realm. And so it goes more detail into like the lore and the history of who Bagul is. And that's where, like you say, you were introduced to the mother and the two boys. There's the mother there, and then you've got the two sons who are also featured in the course of the film. Who you've got, like,
Zachary.
Yeah, Dylan and Zachary, who are twins. One's very shy and very reserved. The other one's like out there, more outgoing.
Yin and yang.
Yeah, he's more like the bully, though. He bullies his twin brother. And it's revealed that there's a past there with the mother and the two boys. That basically she's left in an abusive relationship where the ex-husband's very controlling, very manipulative, but he's also got power. He has influence in the sheriff's department, in the town. And then at the same time, you've got our friend, the deputy from the first film, who then, because of the events that transpired in the first film, he's investigating that family's death. Or so it seems he's investigating a death and trying to uncover what happened to the family from the first film. And as it progresses, he's then getting more into the lore, like I say, Bagul, and then you get introduced to, like, the ghost children. The ghost children.
The ghost children.
The ghost children. Who
I'll
basically...
tell you what I love in this, and I don't think I've quite seen it as well as this. So there's a scene where the cop is in some sort of hallway. I think he's in the barn somewhere. And at first, I think it was the same hallway where Boogie was chasing Dylan at one point. But he's walking down there, and he turns and he flashes his light up, and there's like nothing there. But when he passes it back, then you see the outlier of the kids, and they're getting closer until you get this. I thought that was fucking awesome because usually when you're playing with ghostly figures and stuff like that, they're just like right there. Like you just see them. This one, whoever the director and the filmographer was, like, they did an amazing job of making it actually look like a ghostly presence. I thought that was sweet. Yeah. So well shot.
Yeah.
Did he have to do it so many times though? It's like, how much can he convincing?
It's one of those things where it's like he's like, "Am I seeing what I'm seeing?" And he just keeps doing it. It's like the
but
lights.
After the seventh or eighth time, I'd be like, "I could see you."
Yeah. It's like the lights out. Then you shut the lights off, Shadow. Turn it on. Nothing. It's all right.
And it's going to be in your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kiss them.
Yeah.
But throughout the course of the film, you basically see that one of the boys, the more reserved child, which I think Dylan, he's like so reserved. He actually can see the ghost kids. And as the plot progresses, each one of them, they keep waking him up in the middle of the night, and they're like, play me video. Play me video or play me home movie, and he's watching it, and just like the first one, you keep seeing these family moments, and then you get to see the deaths, and they creep him out, and then he runs into his bedroom and he hides under his bed covers because it's just totally like creeping him out. Yeah. And it's like an extra element on top of these abuse that he received after his father and his brother, that he's now going through another kind of psychological torment of these kids. And his other brother is like bullying him, he's teasing him, and he's like more like his dad. So one's like the mother who's there trying to protect their kids. The other one's turning out to be just like his father. Mm-hmm. Like this abusive dick of a man.
What an asshole that kid was.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. When he goes, "Fuck you, Dylan, and fuck you too, cunt." I was like, holy shit, where'd that come from?
But they did a good job though, because at first you're thinking, wow, she should just like smack him in his mouth or give him soap in his mouth. But
yeah,
he says the one thing, he's like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me like he does?" Like, he knows. Like, these kids were abused, but they both have handled it differently. Dylan is more inward, and like when Dad first shows up, he pisses himself. Whereas you can see that Zachary is far more abrasive, and he's pushing back. He's rebelling against anybody and picking on his brother. So they're both like, and again, the ghost children are using this against them. Like there's again another moment where the ghosts have decided that they're going to go after Zachary. Like they've been playing Dylan as sort of the setup to try to alienate Zachary more, to take him and his hatred for his dad and everything. So the one main ghost kid's like, Dylan's like, my mom didn't do anything. He's like, exactly. And that's what he was getting at. He was like, your mom didn't do anything. She took you away, but she didn't stop you from getting abused. And that's what he was kind of playing off of that. It's not the mother's fault because she was abused too, but the way that it's working with the dynamic, he's trying to convince Dylan that his parents aren't any good. And that's why that's how they set him up to kill their parents and stuff. So,
yeah. So it just shows you like the kids in the attic watching, like that's from the first film, I think. But like even that scene with the ghost kids in the attic, and then you see him in the background, and he mysteriously appears. Like the one thing I liked about the second one more is where the first one's like it's like an introduction to the mystery of Mr. Boogie Bagul, and you see glimpses of him, and you see glimpses of the ghost kids. This one focused more on the mystery of the law and how it works, like how people get, involved in setting it up for him to then do the murder, as the kids to do the murder. You don't really see much of Bagul in this. The more focus is on the ghost children and how they're involved and like how they're wrapped up in the whole, the whole curse and the whole kind of how it transpires. And I like that, how they took the shift off him and focused the energy and the focus on the kids and showed you how, because all you knew in the first film is that these murders were going on and then there were these mysteriously ghost kids around his house. But now in the second one, you get to understand why there's these ghost children and how they're involved. They have all probably been kids that have been in these situations, even in happy homes, but there's something's lured them to want to release the spirit of Bagul, or the parents have accidentally released the spirit of Bagul and they've all been involved, and then it's caused the demise of the entire family. The parents get killed, the kids then get taken into his realm, and then I guess they're living forever in purgatory kind of aspects. And
he supposedly feeds on them, but over time, I guess, and maybe they're just kind of spirits in a way. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's not really crystal clear.
Yeah, it's very vague.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when Ethan Hawke's character was reading what he eats the children. So and then he assumes that there's a murderer out there who's killing kids and eating the kids because there's no bodies or anything found.
Yeah.
And then obviously by the end of the film, you find out he takes the children and he takes them into his realm. And now in the second film, after he takes them into the realm and must feed on the child who's alive and they die, their spirit and their essence of them becomes this floating soul in purgatory and is now trapped in wherever they were murdered, or they're trapped in the house or they're trapped in the barn.
Sure.
And so that's what I think happens. You take the child, the daughter here, he took her while she's alive, and once he takes her into the realm and feeds on her, her ghost and spirit will then be left, that essence of whoever she was while she was alive. Right, be left living around that empty house for eternity.
Sounds fun.
But it also depends what kind of kid you are. So if you're a good kid and gets taken, then hopefully your soul and who you are will be good. But then you can, if you're a little shit of a kid, even when you're a ghost, you're going to be a little shit. So this guy was very manipulative.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have done that anyway.
Precisely. So he was probably a troubled kid when he was younger. He was always just a little horrible kid. So as
And
you know,
that's
as
the
the plot,
interesting thing too, is it would seem that through the second film that, Mr. Boogie would like single out the kid that's probably the most disturbed, the more likely to do harm. But in the first film, you don't really get that sense from the daughter. You don't really get a sense that she's like a bad girl or troubled. So I don't know if that's just another version of where he's able to kind of like hit on the innocents and pull them out of it, or if it's just a different tone. Because as you said, the kids in the second film, they all seem like assholes, like on some level. So I don't know if it's just a different way the directors approached it, but in the first film, you don't really get the sense that the daughter's like a problem child at all. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
They say he kind of like possesses them in a way too. So I guess
Yeah.
over time with her, they don't show it because like the second one obviously shows like, well, how did she get up so bad in here? If this is how it happens, the kids are making them watch the videos, possessing her more, and then she turns from good little girl to, this evil killing machine, not machine, but you know what I mean. And like, I think it's just like a possession. But in the second one, they don't really talk about that. It's more focused on the kids and the build up to it. And is Dylan gonna? Because he's like a good kid. Is he gonna see him crack? And then like he already has the visions of him with the scythe in the fields. The first thing you see is the people burning, and it's like, is that what's gonna happen with him? Or is he gonna like could be the one that breaks away from the spell? Which I thought maybe he was gonna do that, like resist it. But yeah, it's more talked about in the first one, not so much in the second.
like in the first one, you see the girl, the daughter, do watch it, and she's like under this trance. It's like she's possessed. So obviously Dylan gets possessed in this one, and he goes to kill his family. But then luckily the deputy comes up.
Actually, it's Zachary becomes possessed.
Oh, sorry. Well, Zachary gets possessed and tries to kill his family, but then the deputy, just like the Ring. You know how the Ring, you've got the videotapes, and they try to destroy the tapes to try to end the curse. He like shoots the recorder that's playing the video recorder that's playing the video, and apparently that ends the curse. And then Zachary basically turns to dust and dies because he's been possessed by the spirit of Bagul, and because that happens, he then in the curse is not being fulfilled, and it's like halfway through he then is taken. He's then taken, and then that's when the house begins to like crumble and get set on flames and things. And just when you think all said and done, that the curse of Bagul has been lifted, and the cycle's broken of like these different kids being caught up in it. The deputy goes to his hotel room and he finds like the radio, and the ghost children's voice suddenly starts playing over the video, and then just like with the first one, and even this one, I'm not much of a friggin' idiot. I still jump because even though it happened the first time, I didn't think it would happen the second time. Now, if there was a third one, I would know what to prepare for by the end of the film.
Did you just notice on that ham radio there was that symbol?
Yes. Yes.
Like, it's so obvious. There you go. They should brand that.
So like,
that's a pretty good drawing.
That's very good. Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up and show like, so you mentioned before like how they didn't really show her being the one behind anything, but it just now it explained it with Zachary being possessed. She clearly must have been possessed throughout the course of the first movie, but you didn't realize she was.
Well, the whole focus is on the son.
I don't even know if it's really possession. I mean, yeah, it is, but like again, like with her, yes, I can see, because she wasn't really a problem kid. But and this is why I kind of like the second film, at least as far as the plot, a little bit better, is because you've got this added dimension with this abusive dad, and it shows a different reason why these boys are going through trauma that has nothing to do with Boogie to begin with. Like, they were already dealing with fear and anger and they're just trying to get away with their mom to escape this dude. Like, you get that grocery store thing where he's got guys and people looking for her. And that's terrifying to have someone stalking you like that. And so that added dimension, like when I look at Zachary, when he's like, when the group decides they're going to use Zachary as their vessel, and Dylan comes downstairs and he's trying to get Zachary to leave, you could just see Zachary is actually getting enjoyment out of watching the films. So I don't even know if he's really possessed at that point. He's on board. He's just on board with, like, he's mad, he's angry, and he's like, yeah, this is my destiny. This is what I got to do. Like, it's just kind of like him, as you said earlier, with the lead ghost child. They're just bad kids. So I wish, in a way, we did have a third film to kind of distinguish why Boogie selects a certain kid for something. Is it just random or is it purposeful? I like to know what the idea is, because it is creepier that the girl ends up being the killer, because you just don't see it coming out of left field. But this one, you can kind of get this sense that, like, even when they were focusing on Dylan, I kept saying, no, Zachary is more like the person they would want in their group because of how violent he is. And of course, it turns out that's who they were after all along. So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic that I wish they would explore even more, with why Mr. Boogie selects a certain child.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if he, like, even though Dylan was, very reserved, not like Zachary, and he, like you see in the scene where he paid his pants in front of his abusive father, but maybe even though he was scared of his dad and the situation, he could sit and watch them films, and yes, there was disturbing, but he could get through it. Maybe he, underneath it all, was the stronger child, and Zachary deep down was the weaker child, and he used the bullying and abuse to deal with these to deal with the mental anguish that his own father put him through. Because you hear these stories of bullies who bully weaker kids, but they themselves are weak deep down. They just take their anger and frustration or weakness in themselves out on other kids, which is shit. Which is shit and horrible that they do that, but that's generally sometimes the case. They're going through shit themselves, but then they take it out on other kids. Yeah. And I felt that's what Zachary was doing to Dylan. And deep down, he was probably the weaker of the two, and that's why he was targeted by Bagul.
Mm-hmm. Zach was jealous of the ghost kids.
Yeah,
liking his brother. Fuck bullies.
Yeah. You heard it from Mr. Tony the Dead. See it again?
Fuck bullies.
Yes, fuck bullies. But some interesting information before we do, like, we'll pick which one preferred and we'll ratings. Prior to the release of Insidious, The Last Key, Jason Blum stated that a crossover film between Sinister and the Insidious series had previously been in development, tentatively titled Sinister, and that he personally believed it had potential for re-entering it, stating that we are going to cross over our worlds at some point. Then, in October 2023, Scott Derrickson stated that he had interest in returning to the Sinister franchise, while the filmmaker said he believed that Sinister 2 had not taken the right approach. He stated that he believes there are various ways that a sequel could be developed moving forward in going in depth further with the lore and the mystery of the character of Bagul and its world. So we potentially could get a third Sinister film. I don't really see how that and, Insidious are linked, because I just see it as two different entities, two different worlds.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, like in Insidious, you've got what is she, the lady in black or whatever? Yeah. She's basically in that netherworld, and so that's kind of like where Mr. Boogie comes from as well. But
for me personally, the red-faced demon is the main villain
Yeah.
of the Insidious. So but for me, it's a different world, a different setting, and even the vibe and the feel of Insidious over Sinister feel totally
I mean,
different.
a part of me, and I'll touch on this when we get to our final thoughts of the second film, but a part of me, if they decide to cross over, would love to see another play on, if you remember Hellraiser 2, where the Cenobites were fighting one another. Like, I would like to see a battle in a netherworld between some of the Insidious, like the red-faced demon versus Mr. Boogie. Like, that'd be fun. Like, I would love to see that. Not really sure how the plot would play out or why, but just we haven't really seen anything like that where you get this, like, waving of dicks from villains. Like, they all work in this world where they feed upon the innocent, but what happens when they're crossing over into each other's space and trying to, like, hey, that belongs to me or whatever, like pretty much like Hellraiser 2, like the doctor with the girls and stuff like that. So I would like to see something like that at some point.
Yeah. Well, potentially that's what we might be getting. Insidious: The Bleeding World, which is the title of the next Insidious film. So, since you mentioned it, Mr. DJ Anubis, your final thoughts on the second movie, and would you like to rate them and give us which one you preferred over the other?
Sure. Did enjoy this as almost as much as the first one. I will say this, like, there is parts of the story that I like more than the first one. Like I said, the added thing with the tension with the husband that is abusive and chasing her down, it adds like another dimension to all the stress and tension of the film that we're dealing with already. The acting is good again. All of them are good in this. I'll say I was a little disappointed with the ending, just because even though the dad ends up biting the bullet in a sense, not really with a bullet, but when people watch it, they'll know. I'd rather had seen either two things. I would have liked to seen his face when Zachary takes his life, or, since they may not go that route because it is a kid doing it, like, they wouldn't really show that, I don't think, even though they weren't afraid to go crazy in the first film. Or I would have liked to seen where Bravo Dad is up there on that cross and somehow he's able to see Mr. Boogie for the first time, and I would just love to see him piss his ass pants down. I would love to see that. I didn't really get that fulfilling satisfaction because I hated that guy so bad in this movie. I hated him so bad. Like, when he started fucking up Ransom's character, I was like so pissed. Like, dude, I'd be fighting back, doing something. Like, I don't care if he had that shotgun or not. That dude was a dick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't really get the satisfaction of his death like I thought I would. So that was kind of a letdown. But I like how they address the films, like the Super 8 film. So you've got Fishing Trip, where the alligator comes up and takes one of their heads. I thought that was great.
Oh, that was great.
The Christmas Morning, where they're burying him alive in the snow. I thought, oh, that is whacked. Like, these are some of the most creative deaths I've seen, which is very cool because they actually left the heads above so you can see what's going on. I was like, oh, torturous.
Give me vibes of, I don't know why, give me vibes of The Shining.
Yeah.
When Jack Nicholson's like found dead in the snow and he's frozen. I could have.
She looks at the camera at the end, though, too. Dude.
Yeah.
Her eye moves. It's like, oh, they're still alive. And then the breath comes out. I was like, holy shit.
And then, like, Kitchen Remodel, where they get electrocuted in there. And again, the body twitching, like, they did such a good job with that. Like, I actually thought this was real. This is, if they were going to say, like, if you took that piece of film just from that movie and threw it on the internet, like, without knowing the movie itself, I would have thought that was a snuff film.
Yeah.
That's how real it looked. Like, I was like, holy shit, that looks like
that
legit.
middle body. Like, jumped way up in the air, and it was like, I don't know, man. They put they're all into that one.
Yeah. It was so well done.
What I like about these films is, like, a lot of it looks practical, it looks realistic, it feels disturbing, it makes you feel uncomfortable, where most, like we've mentioned before, majority of horror films don't even use a lot of practical effects. A lot of it, like, like especially Final Destination, for example, if there's someone going to lose their head or if there's a brutal death, the blood splatters, it's always CGI and a fucking gore fest. It's like, where this feels like true horror, like feels for me like so realistic with the deaths and the way they die and how.
and here's the thing, and I'll say this is, and Tony knows that this movie I know about, which was surprising but happily surprised, is a movie called The Ugly from a few years from the 90s. The reason why that film works so well, and I'm not going to give too much away because I don't think Kevin's ever seen it, but you go through the entire movie where our main guy is a serial killer, and he talks about how he hears voices and sees the bodies of his victims all the time, like the ghostly versions of the people he's killed. And he's talking to this psychiatrist chick. And so by the end of it, like when he finally attacks her, like tries to choke her out, she has this moment where she actually sees them all standing behind him. So it's like this revelation that she's like close to death, but she's able to see what he sees, and that just terrifies the fuck out of her. This movie, the way both these movies work is similar, although they kind of go above and beyond because, as Tony mentioned, they have a much more supernatural effect to it already. Mm-hmm. It would almost be better if it was scaled back to the point that, like I said, if the dad was on that cross, and I don't know, let's say that Zachary stabbed him once in the abdomen and he was kind of bleeding to the point that he's almost dying anyway. If all of a sudden he just saw Mr. Boogie, like the face of fear that he would have, like, oh my God, am I going to hell? Like, what, what is this? So I guess in some ways, Mr. Boogie, in a sense to me, is almost like the Slender Man in some sense, not like really in looks, just in how the feel is.
Yes.
But, so I'm going to wrap this up so you guys can get your talk in, but I do like this film, not as much as the first, because I think at the end they just played it safe by saving the wife and the other kid. I think they just played it safe there. So I would still rank the first one first at like a 9.5 out of 10. And then I would give this one probably like a 8.5 or 9 out of 10, like as far as it's concerned. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tony the Dead, final thoughts and ratings.
Well, I'm glad I got to finally see it. I wanted to for a while. I forgot about it. But yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't know anybody that's probably gonna say this is better than the first one, but I liked the way the story was more of a mystery in the first one, solving the him doing, and Ethan Hawke. I think he's a great actor. He could play a good guy. He could play a creepy guy. He could do it all, and he's just great. But
he's a really underrated actor, in my opinion.
Sure, yes. Yeah.
Like I loved him in Gattaca, and one of my favorite kids' films when I grew up was Explorers, and I think that was his first ever film that he did.
Yeah.
And I said because he was in there with Joaquin Phoenix, and I thought to myself, you know what, he's going to be a good actor if he stays in the business.
Wasn't he in the vampire flick Daybreak?
Think he was, and was he not in 3:10 to Yuma, the remake?
Yeah, I think he was actually.
Yeah, he's in 3:10 to Yuma, so he's got really good roles, and then obviously he's killed it in the Black Phone series.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see the second one, but I liked the first one. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think with the father at the end, I felt like when he just lit him on fire, I was like, this guy is such a piece of shit. When he was shoving the food in that kid's mouth, I got so angry.
Yeah.
And then when, like you said, he was beating up the I actually like how his name's ex-deputy so-and-so on the cast. But when he was getting punched in the face and that, the first thing I thought is that shotgun's too close to me, pal. I'm going to use it on you. And it'd be self-defense. He's beating the shit out of him. I know he's a higher up guy, but still. But I don't know. I kind of wish in a way that we all thought Dylan was gonna be the bad guy, and then Zach took over. I kind of wish that Dylan would have got the balls at the end, and then killed his father. I can't believe I'm saying that, but like just to get that revenge, like or something, the satisfaction, and like seeing the kids and like you said, Mr. Boogie behind them and stuff. That would be cool. I just wish Dylan got revenge. I mean, Deputy got lost like most of his hand.
That would have been kind of cool. You're right, because if they would have done a scene, because obviously after the camera's damaged, Zachary runs to go try to find another one because he has to fix this. He has to find a way to finish the film. If all that's going on, it would have been nice to see Dylan come back to his dad hanging on that cross, and then if somehow maybe get the hood off and to be like take the lighter and just light it and then leave him.
And you know what I would have liked? You know what I would have liked when he went? He could have done a scene where he's teasing that he's gonna light it, and then teasing that he's not. And as he goes to like light it, his dad pisses himself on the cross. Like you watched his son piss himself at the porch. Yeah. That would have been great if his dad started pissing himself out of fear, like you say, because he's looking at him when he's got the lighter in his hand, but as he's also looking at him with a lighter in his hand, while he begins to piss himself, because when he looks down, he sees Bagul, Mr. Boo.
Then he says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
No.
Right, we're going to write the third movie. We'll write the third movie. Make it fun.
I'd like to see the third one. I mean, it ends with obviously there's going to be, but you said.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a third movie. Well, I heard that there's been talk as well, chatter, if they don't do a third movie, they might do like a sequel mini-series like they've done with It. I could see that working as well, because Horror, if it ain't going to be made into a sequel film or reboot, they're going along, obviously, because It's kind of blew up thanks to the mini-series on HBO Max. So I think a lot of horror could be brought back via television as well.
Yeah. I mean, this also goes back to the 60s, so you can, like you said with It, you can go back even further, because who knows how old he is. That's another thing, too. If he's such an ancient deity, or whatever the word is, why is he dressed like that? I think he should be a little more scarier, ragged.
From this guy.
Yeah. That guy's
I don't know. I thought about that too with like the suit and stuff, which again would kind of go back to what you were saying before. Like, it's almost as if we didn't really need the supernatural element. Like, you can play off of that, use that as like a scare tactic for kids and for people researching who they are. But it almost would have worked a little better as like just a cult film where they just brainwash kids to kill their parents and use the mythology of the boogeyman to do that. Like, that would be great. Like, that would have been a cool aspect to approach it with.
Yeah, that would work. But just I'll get this going real quick. My first movie, probably 9.5 as well, as Anubis said, and then the second one, I think it's like about an 8 for me. I like them both though a lot. I agree. Watch them back to back. It would be good. James Ransone
didn't feels like one long movie.
Yeah, he wasn't as powerful as an impact. He didn't make as huge an impact as Ethan Hawke did, I feel, but I still think he did a great job. And I like the cast. I think the kids did an excellent job too. They're creepy as hell. And even though it was CGI, at first I thought, why aren't they doing their faces like in the first one? And then it's like, oh, that's because we're nice looking now. We're just dead kids. This is what we look like, and it's like, and even though CGI, it looked good, I thought. But I think anybody should watch them both.
Why definitely not? Yeah, watch them both. Yeah, I definitely would. As for me, I enjoy both films, as I've stated a number of times. I'll just look at the first one, and the second one is one long film that's been split in half. I see influences, like you see, from The Conjuring, its look and its aesthetic, because like The Conjuring, as you know, it's taken back like it goes through different time periods, and it has kind of that look and that feeling, that nitty gritty, dirty feel. I love the story. I like the mystery behind it. I love like the mythology that they slowly started building throughout the course of the 2 films, and love the cast. I do agree with Tony. I think the first movie has the stronger lead in Ethan Hawke. Not that there's nothing wrong with James Ranson. I think he's done a fantastic job. But the one thing I will give him props on, and the writers, is that they brought his character in to connect the 2 films. Like, it's basically a clear continuation from the first one into the second one, where you get a lot of horror sequels where they'll bring in a brand new cast in a brand new location, and there'll be one Easter egg, like, oh, I don't know, oh, he got that book that's possessed from that town from the first film, and then he brought it to our town, and that's the only link to whatever the and everything else. Like, if we've done lots of franchise discussions, if you look at, like, for example, like Pumpkinhead or Wishmaster, there's no real connecting dots. They just throw it out there and they re-release the DJ or whatever it may be. At least I liked how this was like an organic flow and an organic real connection from first film to second film.
Yeah.
Once again, rest in peace, James Ranson. Done some great work there. And for me, because I do enjoy these films, and like I say, I think it's one big long film, I'm going to give them both the same rating of 9 out of 10. Because I really enjoy that. And Ethan Hawke, like I say, I really think he's carved his own niche in terms of horror. And another thing I definitely feel that the 2 films have a massive connection to, and I do think the Black Phone films are connected, or not connected, or definitely influenced by things like The Ring, Longlegs, and of course Sinister. Because if you look at the Black Phone films, they both involve these ghost children, except the ghost children in this one are like the villain, not the villains, but they're connected to the murders and connected to the rituals of what happened, where in Black Phone, the ghost kids are always the victim and are always kind of like trying to help that kid in the first one solve their murder so they can find peace. Yeah. And the second one, Black Phone, is very much like the first one in terms of, these films, where the first film is more like a murder mystery, the second film is very much more supernatural, and that's what these films do. And I feel as if that's why they're all similar, but they're also very different.
Are you done spoiling?
I wasn't spoiling. I was just talking.
Yeah. You said that about Predator Badlands, and you gave like the ending away.
I didn't give the ending.
Bullshit. You did, and I like Predator, so I remember all that stuff. But you did ruin it for me a little bit.
It's a great movie.
Great movie. Yes,
but anyway.
It is. But anyway,
that's true though about Black Phone with the kids. Though you said that could be that's an interesting. They could all be from the same world. So maybe there's a good Mr. Boogie. the Black Phone.
Maybe Bagal is the killer in Black Phone's master, for all we know. But anyway, that's a story for another time. Mr. DJ Anubis, what is coming to the Metal Tavern Radio?
Well, Tony and I, we are going to rearrange our picks from this week. I mean, neither one was necessarily great. So I'll probably, because I did get a screener for the Yeti, I'll just do my own review on that one, and then put that up, and then so I can at least give them something, for their effort to let me see it. But going into next week, I think my pick for Ghouls of Midnight is going to be Ready or Not 2 with Samara Weaving. I did get a chance to check that out already. I really enjoyed it. So I want Tony to see it so we can review it, and we'll do that on my pick. I don't know what his pick will be because he's not happy with his pick from this week either.
Oh man, that
Which
sucked.
I'm not either.
That sucked, man.
I was doing this the entire time I was watching, like, fuck you, Tony. Fuck you,
I'm
Tony.
sorry.
Fuck you, Tony.
The trailer looked good, and it was. I like body cam.
He likes the found footage. I just sat there and go, stop it with the found footage already.
I will when you stop with the your thing. I can't even think of it. You see, it's
Your thing.
nuns and.
Well, my thing that he gets annoyed with. Like, it's always the psychedelic, crazy, trippy shit that I'm pulling out my ass. So, like, now he did like Jimmy and Stiggs, but outside of that, he's like, you are a dick.
So, what was the film you were going to review? A found footage film?
It's called Body Cam from this year, I think, or last year.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah,
you don't have to watch it. It's not good.
No.
Well, that's everybody watching. That is his review. It's not good.
Basically, yeah. 3-second review. It sucks. Don't watch it.
Isn't there that found footage film coming out with the werewolves?
Is there?
Could be. I don't know.
Well,
I'm still trying to figure out where that frickin' Werewolves in Space film is. I want to see that.
Yeah, I sent you the trailer. I'm sure, Anubis.
Werewolves in space.
Well, actually, it looked good. I saw the trailer for it. It looked really good, but
I'll watch any found footage movie. One with werewolves would be cool.
I'll send you the link after this, Tony, and you can give us your thoughts.
I'm not reviewing
anything coming to your channel, Tony, or just Ghouls to Midnight for now?
What the hell's Ghouls to Midnight?
Oh, yeah. Dude, just Ghouls to Midnight.
Ghouls to Midnight. Yeah, that's about it. And on White Trash, I have a bunch of songs that I just made, so I'm getting those together.
Oh yeah, I did release a new record. It's on my Sono account, so
cool.
I posted that the other day.
Nice.
You can actually get albums printed, but I don't know how good it is. I'm looking into that.
I saw someone advertising that. I've thought about just making myself a copy of the ones I have, or at least the ones I like the most. But
yeah,
I don't know. I have to look into it more.
Yeah, me too. That's a cool idea. Like album, like
I'm obsessed with that song you did for Stranger Things, the Static Nose. I watch that religiously. I love that song
because you're the one putting all the views on that.
Yes, it's me, Tony. 5 times a day.
My favorite one that I have lately is Begonia.
Yeah, because I really like the sync sound. What's it called?
The
synth sounds from the 80s and the 90s. I love that. So I follow another user who makes them kind of tunes called the Marvel 83. I listen to his all 80s vibe stuff. The Godzilla theme that you both did was great as well. I've listened to that a few times. So the views better be going up on that one as well.
I hope.
But yes, as for me in the entertainment headquarters, later today, me and Anthony Jordan of Anthony Jordan's Movies and Gaming and my friend Jill Barabing Nielsen are going to be talking all things The Sopranos, part of the next Television Chronicles. And then tomorrow night, I'll be joined by potentially Mr. Tony the Dead as well, but definitely my co-host, Mr. DJ Anubis, on the next Retro Classic Movie Show when we're going to be talking Double Impact. And then on the 10th of April, we're going to be talking Howl from Beyond the Fog, the next Kaiju Connections. And then, it didn't meant to be, but this month seems to be a Kaiju-filled month. The next event on the channel is on Sunday, the 12th. We're doing it a little bit early because my schedule has changed. It was meant to be the 17th, but now on the 12th of April, me and a host of amazing guests, maybe you two guys if you want to join me, we're going to be talking the film Rodan from 1956 for Mr. J. Cole's birthday celebration.
Oh.
So that's what we've got coming up on the entertainment headquarters for now. But as always, keep on enjoying your movies, keep on enjoying all things entertainment. Please subscribe to the Metal Tavern Radio. Please subscribe to Mr. Tony the Dead and his White Trash music channel. Great shit there. I listen to it. You listen to it. And to remind our audience, Mr. DJ Anubis, what is the name of your music channel?
So I have a new channel up there, just kind of like with Tony. In fact, you can find a playlist of his stuff on my channel as well. It's called Ghoul Prism. That's the name of the project that I do for my music part of it. And so for the most part, I try to do music like he does based upon some of the movies we reviewed or just horror theme. But lately I've been doing like genre specific. So like the newest one I did was centered around black metal and the different styles of black metal music in there. So I've got a future one with death metal, thrash, and then even I have an 80s hard rock one that I've been working on. So just look out for that in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much, it's just called Ghoul Prism. It's up there and you guys can check it out. Some of the videos I have up there for that.
There you have it, people. There you have it. Like, share, and subscribe to Metal Tavern Radio. Like, subscribe to Ghoul's Prism. Subscribe to Mr. Tony the Dead. Subscribe to White Trash. And if you want, please like, share, and subscribe to the
This is the man. This is the man right here.
This has been Into the Darkness. We'll catch us all at the next one.